lovely people, welcome to this channel. This is where we find essence for our kids and our teens. My name is Taliana Kester, your host, partnering with you to ensure that your children fulfill God's given purpose. So today, right about now, we will be continuing the episode on self-leadership. In the last video, I mentioned that in talking about self-leadership, in leading our children, in ensuring that our children develop the skill of self-leadership, that they would need to see themselves correctly, self-awareness. We would need to show them. It's our responsibility to show our children the appropriate picture that they need to see about themselves. That also includes our faith pictures. Especially if you are a Christian watching this, if you're a believer, you should show your children, your child, pictures from the Holy Scriptures. What they look like, who their father is, of what breed and of what stock they are made of. It is super important because when they have the right pictures, the pictures of other people would not stand. The images that other people would give them would not hold water. They will be able to try and comport and hold that picture that you have shown to them, that you have given them. Okay? The next thing we talked about is that they should be able to accept this image that you have shown them, this awareness that you have shown them. Then they should be able to grow and practice this image, this picture, as well as developing self-discipline towards achieving their goals. Now, today we'll be talking about the things that we need to do in preparation for our children to lead themselves. It is very important that we begin to understand that children can lead themselves. It is very important. Now, if you remember, in the very first video that I made, in the very first episode, we talked about setting goals. And part of the benefits of setting goals was that, or is that, children learn responsibility. In setting and achieving their goal, it gives them a sense of responsibility. Okay? So, part of what you do in helping your child to lead themselves is that you give them things to be responsible for. Yes. Now, that takes me to another subheading, which is value. There must be a value system, or what they call it, a mission vision of your family. There must be something that your family is about. What do you stand for? Because as we know, if you do not stand for anything, you will fall for anything. So there should be something that guides their behavior, that guides their desires, that guides that is a source of control or a form of control in the home. Okay? That also helps for self-leadership. Now, when children are responsible for certain things at home, it gives them that leadership. It helps to develop that leadership tenets in them. How do I mean? For example, say one of the children is responsible for getting all the shoes ready for school. Okay? That's as simple as that. Someone is responsible for taking out all the lunch plates or all the lunch packs. Or someone is responsible for the laundry. Someone is responsible for ensuring that the chores are shared appropriately. Now, provided there is a pattern, there are rules, there are regulations, there are consequences as against punishment, and it is done consistently, over time, the children are able to do these things for themselves. We're getting somewhere. The ability for a child to do stuff without being told what to do is self-leadership. The ability for a child to say no, the ability for a child to lead him or herself in doing the right thing is self-leadership. So how does this connect to the very first thing we started talking about? In setting goals, you would want these goals to be achieved. You would want them to be able to take responsibility for those goals, okay? So you need to teach them how to lead themselves in order to accomplish these goals. It is one thing to set goals, it's another thing to ensure that these goals are achieved. And you would not be the one to achieve the goal as a parent. They will need to achieve the goal. So they need to learn the act of leading themselves. Okay? They need to learn the act of leading themselves. And it starts with their daily routine. It starts with their activities. What do they do on a regular basis? What are the things that they can do all by themselves without you telling them to do it? Say, for instance, that's why I said it depends on the family value system or value chart or whatever you call it, your mission, vision statement. Say you have, like my home, let's say you have a routine of how you go to bed. You brush your teeth, you take a wash, and then you wear your night wear, or you jump into sleeping clothes, and then you go to bed. Once a child does this consistently for over a period of time, you do not need the ability for the child to do it by himself or herself is self-leadership. Once they're able to replicate what they do on a daily basis without being told what to do is self-leadership. Assuming that when they get back from school, they kick off their shoes at the door, and then the person who is responsible for picking up shoes takes the shoes to where the shoes are kept, or everyone takes their shoes to a particular spot with you telling them, right? Now, how you get to know that your child is able to lead him or herself, or his or herself, is when the child comes back and does exactly the same thing without being told. Yes. And it's a function of the grooming system. It's a function of the learning circle. Okay? Consistently. Now, how does this apply to school leaders? Because we're not just going to talk to only parents, we're going to talk to school leaders and teachers as well. How does it apply to, you want a child, we want a pupil who can lead himself. We want a crop of children who are able to lead themselves, to do so, and so. You have to create a routine. You have to create a pattern. You have to create an outline of activities that you do consistently with them. Okay, I'll take it again. In order for children to lead themselves, as parents, as school leaders, or as teachers, or classroom influencers, if you like, you have to create a chart of activities that should be done consistently over a period of time. Now, because children are copying beings, they would copy that pattern, and over time they will be able to do it for themselves. That is the first step, or that is the first pointer that this child is beginning to lead his or herself. The second thing is sustainability. Sustainability. The ability to sustain an initiative. The ability to sustain an initiative. The ability to come up with an initiative and sustain it is self-leadership. Now, I give you two scenarios. Say in your home, you have a system where, a conversation takes place and everybody has the opportunity to make suggestions and all of that. And then say we want to do something for Christmas, or we want to do something for Easter, and a child, brings up a suggestion, and you give the child responsibility to do this, and this. Okay? Now, the ability for that child to sustain that initiative and see to it that it is done is self-leadership. Back to our goals. We learned about setting goals, right? Now, the ability for your child to take up one of the things that he or she is supposed to do daily and do it consistently without being told or without being given constant reminder. A reminder here or there is not really too bad. Even as adults, sometimes we need people to remind us to do certain stuff, right? But what I'm saying is the ability for the child out of 100% to remember to do those stuffs for 80% is a pointer that your child has learned the act of self-leadership. And self-leadership is a very important tool if you must raise children who will fulfill purpose. Now, this is one of the reasons why self-leadership is important. In the sense that when you teach them certain things, certain values, certain give them certain home training, they will not easily lose it when they go out to mix up with other people. They'll be able to lead themselves to doing the right things because over time they have consistently done these things in this manner. Okay? They have consistently done this in this manner. Say a child who is transiting to middle school and is going into the boarding house, and over time at home, based on the rules or based on the policy, based on the value system that we have at home, you do your chores. You do chores. You're able to clean the dishes. You're able to clean your room, do this and do that consistently. That child going into middle school, it will not be a problem to lead him or herself into doing those things. Another example is waking up early. A child who is able to now wake up early by himself, by herself, has shown signs of leading themselves. So when they go out there, it will not be a challenge for them to lead themselves in waking up early or doing the things that they need to do. Just because I do not want this video to be too long, I'm going to call it a wrap with this line of thought. For us to raise independent thinking children, we must begin to create an atmosphere where children begin to lead themselves. Self-leadership is super important because we do not want to raise zombies. We want to raise children who are thinking, children who have a say, children who can be creative. A part of creativity is the ability to lead yourself. So in raising children who are going to be creative or who are going to influence their world, then we must set up consistent activities that help build the self-leadership skill of our children. It cannot be wished away. It cannot be wished in. It has to be worked out. That is to say that if you do not put in the work, your child will not be able to lead his or herself. So you would have to do the work. You would have to put in certain amount of activities, certain activities, and watch them do it. Now, you could do a few reminders and sometimes just sit and watch and see how well they do it. But before you sit to watch, ensure that there is a good amount of consistency. There is a good amount of consistency. Children you don't just assume with children, you teach them because they don't know what to think. They think from the information that is available to them. Okay? Especially for little children. For teenagers, you should have done this from when they were growing up as children. Perhaps you didn't get it right. This is another opportunity. God always gives us opportunity with our children, with life in general. So this is a wake-up call for you to begin to raise children who are independent thinkers, who would want to make the right decision because they are able to lead themselves. The reason why children get into vices, the reason why children get into things that their parents are not approving of or their parents do not approve of is because they lack the skill of self-leadership. It starts from the home. What are you doing on a regular, consistent basis? My name is Tanyana Kester. I am a proud school leader, a certified educator, partnering with you to ensure that your children fulfill God's purpose. Subscribe to this channel and like the video.